Hey, what's up, Erie? It's Luke Bollinger once again with the Town of Erie Parks and Recreation Department out here at Schofield, kicking off episode 2 of Erie's Old House. Let's get into it. Today's episode of Erie's Old House, we're actually going to talk to A&M Renovations, Mike and Andy. They're the ones who have been here almost every single day doing the work inside the house and on the outside of the house. We're going to go from room to room, and they're going to show us really the specific work that they've been doing to get us to the point where we're at right now. And we're going to take a quick walk around the house. We're going to see the new chimneys that were just put up. But first, let's get into where we left off last time with episode 1 and a little bit of history. So if you remember last time, we left off with Mary and Alfonso having the 4 children. Remember, Mary, Emma, Archibald, Walter, H., and George. So we left off in about 1898. Helen Mary Prince died, and she was 60 years old. In 1905, the large barn was constructed. And what's really cool about the large barn is that it was built using the Wizard block maker from Sears and Roebuck, which I've seen the actual pamphlet that Sears and Roebuck put out for that Wizard block maker. So they imported the cement and they pulled sand from the Prince Reservoir number 2, which is just north of the house here, to make those. The style of the barn was called a banking barn with a hay stored on the top floor, horses on the floor below, and cows on the bottom. And that same year, Alfonso was elected as the treasurer of the school board, and in 1914, the concrete stave silo was constructed on site. Now, the concrete stave silo, they're pretty common around Boulder County. So if you're ever driving around, you'll probably see a half dozen of them easy. Those were also a kit. You could just go out to the company and you actually just buy the kit for the concrete stave silo. And then in 1918, George Schofield marries A. Maud Walton, and the couple moves onto the Schofield farm. Now, the same year, Alfonso purchases a cheese factory in Lafayette, and this address actually used to be Lafayette. The Lafayette Leader article stated George Schofield, son of the new proprietor, will act as the manager of the business, this cheese factory in Lafayette, and the business will be conducted under the name of the Lafayette Cheese Factory. Mr. Schofield states that it is an intention to also open a creamery and will be prepared to produce butter for the market. And that happened in 1919. On June 29th, Mary Molly M. Schofield dies in Alphonse, and their 4 children inherited the property. So that's a little bit catching us up on the history. Let's talk to Mike and Andy on the renovations. All right, Andy and Mike, thanks for joining us today and talk a little bit about Schofield. So you guys are the guys in the house making it happen. So why don't you kind of introduce yourselves and maybe describe your experience a little bit about working in the field of historical building renovation. Andy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I'm Andy Carlson. I've been in construction about 23, 24 years now. I just started fixing up old houses in Denver around 2000, and that was going great until the housing market collapsed in 2008. I had to go out and get a real job, so I found a historic preservation specialist, and been doing that work ever since about 2008.
And Andy, I've known you for a few years now because you and I worked together in Windsor when we did the beach shack floor.
Beach shack, yeah.
Mike, what about you?
My name's Mike Sherwood. Together we make A&M Renovations. I started in construction a little bit further back than that. I've got about 35 years this year in construction history, and historic preservation and renovation about 18 years. Started on the north coast of California doing Victorians, and worked my way back to Colorado and linked up with these guys and
Nice.
started going.
Mike, every time I come out here and you kind of talk about, and we'll get into kind of what you guys have done so far, but every time I come out here, I'm just so zoned in on what you're saying because I'm so fascinated on your attention to detail and how you approach this project. It's been fascinating to listen to you. What sticks out? What makes this Schofield house rehabilitation project so unique?
Wow, I was thinking it's very typical of this age of home. I think the uniqueness in it comes from the fact that this northeast corner of it is burned pretty seriously in the past. Andy, I don't know, maybe it's very typical of this era of house. It's
Yeah.
gone through a lot of renovation, it's gone through a lot of changes, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's typical but also makes properties like this unique is that it was a farmstead, and so that means it was very utilitarian. Around the property, there's all kinds of different outbuildings built at different times, and at the time, they weren't trying to be historic preservationists. They weren't trying to get everything to match the farmhouse. So you've got this really cool barn with kind of some unique construction. You've got the Quonset hut, which is a totally different style of building, some garages. So it's this kind of eclectic mishmash of buildings, which is both typical of farmsteads, but also, unique in its own particular mix of stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I like that association because when you were out here and there was, you said, this is my piece of land, this is where I'm going to farm. You had to adapt, right? You had to add on when you could. You had to build a different building. To your guys' point, they weren't trying to match the architecture. It was, hey, we've got this silo kit, or we've got this brick making kit from Sears and Roebuck. We're going to go ahead and throw this up, and we're going to talk about a little bit about the fires in a later episode. But yeah, Mike, right sitting above you, we can see the soot that affect that fire. So, all right. Well, what do you guys think? Should we go walk around and you guys can tell us what you've done so far?
Sure.
All right. All right. So now we are in the kitchen, or what we're going to call the break room here. Kind of tell us, maybe walk us through what's been going on over here.
So this space, of course, probably because it's the kitchen, has the most mechanical plumbing issue or things going on. So all new plumbing for this bathroom space. There is new plumbing. Of course, you can't see it because of the old floor. Running in and tying together underneath us here into the bathroom, and then of course getting this out the back to the drain. This space will get electric. It also has an air conditioning heating system here.
Okay.
We reframed the entire bathroom just because it had been so cobbled together. I don't believe this house was built with a bathroom inside it. So it just got added into this space and was not up to par with what we need for a modern ADA bathroom. So it's been completely reframed.
One interesting thing we found is that right now we've got the stairs coming down right here. But when we opened up the bottom of this wall here, we realized originally the stairs came out right here. So they would have come down and then turned and come into the kitchen right here. At some point, someone probably to reconfigure these back rooms, have the stairs going all the way down. And so we're leaving them the way they are just because it works better now. But if we were truly going to go back to the way it was built, we would turn the stairs and have it come through right in here.
Drop right into the kitchen. Interesting. Yeah, let's head upstairs. All right, so now we're in one of the bedrooms upstairs. And Mike, you're standing there by where the chimney would have run down. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So originally there would have been a brick chimney that came through this space. There's evidence of it that there was an original hole in the roof and the ceiling even. You can see the floor patch down here that's been done. So this got reframed back in just to carry a decoration chimney above the roof line. You can see where the bricks come to and stop.
Okay.
And then I think in this room we did just a test sample of what the floors will look like. Of course, it's got some dust and debris on it at this point, but what the floors will look like when we're complete, as far as the wood goes, it will have a coating on it in the end. But then we'll get them pulled back so that you can see the wood and it doesn't look so trashed. But we're going to leave the paint to the degree at which it is on the perimeters, where they would have had like a carpet or probably a piece of linoleum sitting on the ground up here.
Okay.
And then somebody went around and painted the edges so it looked more finished.
Okay. Let's check out this view real quick from the second floor. Can't beat it. Can't beat that view. We're now here in this would be our living room, right, Andy and Mike? What's been done so far? We got a lot of stripped walls and we got windows with boards on them. Kind of tell us what we've done in the living area so far.
Well, this space, we had to have some plaster removed for electric, for putting the new doors in, so of course those had to all be opened up. Of course you can see the exterior brick. So we'll be getting electric in this space. This particular wall, there was the upstairs bathrooms right above us. There was a lot of structural issues here, plus the wall needed to be furred out for the sake of this pipe. There's a chimney that sits on top of this. This is the old chimney raceway where the chimney would have come. The chimney would have come down to here and been held up by a support or a brace, and it would have had a stovepipe that went into it up high on both sides. The kitchen is on the other side of the wall, but now we have, of course, the restored chimneys up above.
Okay. And what are these white pipes here on the side?
These are for the air conditioning heating system. They're mini splits, so these copper pipes just go out to a condenser unit that'll be outside.
Okay.
And that'll be the heat exchange for the space.
Awesome. All right, so now I'm back outside, and remember when Mike was talking about those two chimneys that we just finished reconstructing. So here's the one on the south side of the house, and then we'll go look at the other on the north side of the house. And here's the chimney on the north side of the house. And you can see the scaffolding, masonry crews here. They're doing all the mortar repointing. Once all this gets pulled out, cleaned out, and temperatures warm up, then we'll go back and we'll repaint to that original red brick color that the house was originally built. All right, back in the office now. Lots going on, lots to do. So I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for tuning in to Erie's Old House. Until next time.